before anything else, and as you know, I'm a lawyer. Lawyers are very good at caveats. I would like to give you my caveat. Everything I say from this point forward is advice. You are free to take it or leave it. And when I think about receiving advice, I always think about my shoes. As if any of you already know me, you know I'm obsessed with my shoes. Receiving advice, getting advice, is like picking the right pair of shoes. You kind of look around, you see what looks promising, you discard the totally ugly ones. You try on many pairs, you find the one that fits, you find the one that's comfortable, and you find the one that doesn't pinch your toes. So please treat everything I say from this point forward like a new pair of shoes that you're trying out. So when they asked me to be on the talks, I said, why would you pick me? What do I have to share? I'm really boring. They said, no, because we think you're strong and you're a successful woman. And I thought to myself, why would you think that? Because to my mind, I am and I always will be a work in progress. And the work in progress only ends on the day I die. And for me, the measure of success is something very personal. You have to define your own you have to make your own definition of success. Because someone else's definition is not going to work for you. In the same way that someone else's pair of blue suede shoes is not going to fit you. In my case, I only have two things. On the day I die, I want to look in the mirror and be able to say, one, I was true to myself. And second, wherever I am at that point, I got there on my own merits. I didn't step on anyone, I was not unfair, and I only did to others as I would have others do unto me. And that kind of sounds corny, so we'll move on. So I will tell you a telenovela story. So there was this little girl. She grew up in the province, very traditional, and from the age of 3, her parents said, when you grow up, you're going to be a doctor. So she was very obedient, so she grew up, and she said, okay, I'll go to pre-med, except along the way, she didn't realize that she would find out. She grew up thinking, when I get to be a certain age, I'm going to know what I want. But when the little girl grew up, she still didn't know what she wanted. She did find out, however, what she did not want. And the little girl said, but I don't want to be a doctor. I want to be something else. And this brings me to the first thing I'd like to share to you. And this is, be true to yourself. You have to know what you want. You have to know where your strengths are, and you have to use those strengths to get what you want. In my case, my strength at the time was I was daddy's girl. So I knew I could manipulate my father into supporting me, into doing what I wanted. And what I wanted was to not go to medical school. And honestly, people ask me, did you always want to be a lawyer? And I say, no, it was an accident. So there's this little girl, same little girl, graduated from UP, had a friend who wanted to take the Ateneo entrance exam for law school. And the friend was too intimidated by the social Ateneans, so she told the little girl, hey, Miss Sen, take the entrance exam in Ateneo with me. And Miss Sen says, it's expensive, it's 500. And so the friend said, oh, I'll pay your entrance fee, just go take the exam with me. So I said, but that's just 500. So she said, okay, I'll give you 500 plus pay the 500. Will you take the test with me? And at the time, I wanted the 500. So that's how I ended up in law school. So the telenovela continues, no? We fast forward. Years later, it turns out the little girl, she really liked being a lawyer. She enjoyed law school, and strangely, she was good at it. So the little girl is now a lawyer. She passed the bar. She had this wonderful fairy tale life at the time. She had this really guapo boyfriend. They were together for 7 years. She had this rock. They were engaged. Then one day, Prince Charming says, you shouldn't work so hard in your law firm because, when we get married, you're just going to stay home and take gourmet cooking lessons. And so the little girl said, hey, wait, I did not slave through 4 years of law school to cook dinner for you. I might do it if you're nice to me, but don't expect me to do it every day. And that leads me to my next point. Be brave. So this little girl, she had a choice. Do you stay and pursue your dream of becoming this hotshot lawyer? Or do you give up what you thought was the love of your life at the time? Or do you stay with this person that you've known for 7 years, who's promising you a nice house, the picket fence, the 2 children, and the dog? You know? But, be brave. In that case, the little girl said, hey, you know what? I want to be a lawyer. To hell with you. I'll find someone else. But that takes courage because it means getting out of what's comfortable, going away from the sure thing, following something that you're not sure what the outcome will be. My next point really is, so what happens? How do you be true to yourself? Okay, fine, you're brave. You take the next step. And then what do? What? You're there, you're on the edge, you're gonna jump. What happens to you when you jump? And that's the next thing. Push yourself. You have to put yourself in, it's only in difficult situations that you know how strong you can be. So this telenovela, it gets worse. So fast forward, these telenovelas, right? After like a week, they're already aged 20 years. So think about it that way. So, in 2008, the little girl, she was a partner in a major law firm. She was making this huge salary, and she thought she had everything. And then the bottom of her world fell out. She lost her dad. Sorry. She lost the wonderful job. And that's when you realize how strong you can be. Because people can only test themselves when they're placed in a situation that's outside of their comfort zone. So when you think, oh my God, my life is such a drama, what am I gonna do? You think to yourself, I can do it because I'm strong, people depend on me, and I don't know what I'm made of until I try. You do not be afraid to fail. Because failing is not in the actual failure. Failing is when you refuse to even try because you're afraid you're not going to succeed.